15 years of imprisonment. 5 days of vengeance. Yes, yes, yes. I fucking love this movie. This movie fucking rules on every level. Yeah, I'm a little biased considering one of my favorite types of films is revenge flicks, and I also really like foreign films as well. I feel the storytelling in foreign films is very different and quite refreshing after watching some of the by-the-numbers films that Hollywood turns out. And I'm sorry to say this, but a lot of indie films aren't all they're cracked up to be. Yeah, they do some interesting things to get around not having good equipment, and they do come up with some pretty interesting ideas. But a lot of indie films are absolute garbage. I'm not saying there aren't really good indie films, because some of my favorite films are indie. Star Wars, Evil Dead, Clerks, all masterpieces of indie cinema. But the ratio of good indie films to bad ones is very skewed. But I'm getting off topic. For those of you who aren't into revenge and Asian films, I'm going to be giving it a regular smoe score for just the film buffs who have an open mind or want to see a good movie. I do have to say this is one of the most easily accessible Asian films I've ever seen. It's even easier to watch and comprehend than most Godzilla films. Anyway, I've talked for far too long, let's get to the review. I need to start by saying that Oldboy is a second part in a revenge trilogy by Korean director Park Chan-wook. It's a loose trilogy like Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead and the upcoming third film is, in that in no way are the movies connected by a single storyline. They do share some actors and a few themes, but they're all completely different films, so don't let that scare you away. If you like it, check out Lady Vengeance and No Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance. I'm noticing a pattern here. Oh yeah, and the movie isn't Japanese or Chinese like most Asian films, it's South Korean. The storyline is an adaptation of the Japanese comic of the same name, but it is very loosely based on it. Basically the same kind of idea is there, but other than that they are two completely different experiences. The comic is more of a mystery thriller, whereas the movie is an ultra-violent psychological type thriller. It's not violent the same way that, say, Rambo and the Terminator are violent, because there are only a few violent scenes in the whole movie, and only a few people die, but the way they present the violence is quite dark and brutal. I mean, this movie is fucking brutal. Almost in the same way that Fight Club is brutal, but not quite. Not the kind of thing you want to show a girl or guy on the first date. And there is sex involved as well. Now let's get down to the story. The movie opens up with the main character Odaisu carrying on and causing a scene at a police station after a night of drinking. His friend comes to bail him out and he makes a phone call. When his friend has his back turned, he is abducted and taken to a type of prison cell. The prison is more of a hotel room from hell, which is designed to make you lose your mind. The pattern on the wallpaper is just insane, and you could probably stare at it for hours, just slowly losing your mind. And there are several grotesque pictures on the wall. But he does have a TV to keep him company. He is imprisoned in this room for 15 years, before he is finally let out on the roof of a building. He is a little disoriented and confused as the world has grown up around him during his imprisonment. He begins feeling his way around and finding clues to who had him locked up for his ultimate revenge. He eventually gets a call from the guy who locked him up and he meets him. Due to his driving need to know why he was locked up, the man challenges to a game where he has to figure out why he was locked up in 5 days. If he doesn't, then he will die without ever knowing the truth. But if he does figure out why, he can kill the man. So he sets out to remember exactly what it is he did to this man, and that would make him lock him up or die trying. I will say the entire story plays out like a Greek tragedy, though. It's very well made. And the acting is superb. Choi Min-sik, who plays our hero, turns in a fantastic performance, as well as the other chief characters. And is dubbed too, so you don't have to worry about reading the entire movie. The direction is superb. There's this one scene in a hallway where Odaisu has to fight about 20 guys. It's shot from the side like a side-scrolling video game or an old fighting game. But that's not the great part, because a fight scene from the side isn't all that spectacular. But what is amazing is that it is all one single shot. Yeah, there's an entire 5-minute fight scene in one single shot. To me, that is a huge accomplishment in a world where fight scenes are shot in so many cuts that oftentimes you miss what's really going on, and you can't keep track of where the characters are, or who has had the snot knocked out of them and who hasn't. There are also a few scenes that are starkly beautiful, especially the last shot of the movie. The writing is also really good. I would say near perfect, but I'm not Korean, so I have no way of knowing what their standards for dialogue are. The music is also fantastic. A lot of times I found it hard to pay attention to the movie because the music is just so good. And each song is named after a famous Western movie. So when they show the passage of time while he's in the room, the song that is playing is called Jailhouse Rock. And the song you're listening to right now is called The Last Waltz. Just fantastic stuff. The themes that I noticed were these. The first one was revenge, obviously. The second is obsession. Yeah, obsession. Both the main character and the antagonist are completely obsessed with each other, although they both are obsessed for different reasons. And the third theme I noticed is the nature of love. Yes, you heard me right, the nature of love. There is a love story, but I didn't want to come out and say it because it really figures in the climax of the movie, and I fucking hate it when I watch a review of something and they spoil it for me. Because usually I wasn't interested in it until they ruin it for me. I think that's all the themes I noticed. It is important to note that the movie is a radical departure from the comic. The basic core of the story is there, but they made some very interesting choices. The ending is completely different and much more dramatic. In the manga there are absolutely no fight scenes really, and there's no torture. And the TV plays a very big role in the movie, whereas in the manga it plays almost no part. This movie is an excellent introduction to Asian cinema, especially if you're interested and don't mind some violence and slight torture scenes. If you've got a friend who you want to try and get into Asian cinema, and they like them some violence too, I would strongly suggest Oldboy, and Battle Royale even, though I feel that the movie version of Battle Royale is far inferior to the book and the manga. But to be fair, they did have to squeeze a 700-page book and an 18-volume manga into a 2-hour movie, so Battle Royale is a good one too. I might review that later. Overall, I'm going to give this 2 different scores due to my bias. If you're into revenge in Asian films like I am, then I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. But if you're not into revenge or Asian films, I'm still going to give it an 8 out of 10. I strongly suggest you see this movie somehow. I doubt you'll ever see it on TV because of some pretty extreme scenes, but I know you can pick it up at most blockbusters. It is highly acclaimed by most people who have seen it, and I think it won a few film festivals. I think it was even in the running for Cannes. So it's not just me who likes this movie. I do have to say that this is a film that sticks with you, and you will most likely find yourself watching it over and over again. For me, it was well worth the $35 for the collector's edition, because it also comes with the first volume of the comic, and if you really like it, you can go read the comics. And 2 discs of bonus content, as well as 3 commentaries. Yeah, 3 commentaries. So with that, I'm going to get the fuck out of here. This concludes my first movie review. I hope you all liked it. See you later.